Mark,
Hey, Paul.
sorry. You should know by now. I don't know why you're scared when you
You
should know by
catch me
now.
off guard every time. I was just admiring this beautiful John Jang variant for
That is
Superman
an
Night Terrors.
incredible variant, isn't it? Just amazing.
Crushed it.
Everything he does is amazing.
Solid
Um,
art.
exactly. Solid story too, but we'll get to that in just a second, right after this. So, welcome to another edition of DC Comics Deep Dive. Before we get started, make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the alert button, the notification bell, so you're alerted whenever we upload new content. Make sure you leave a comment because you will have a chance to win the entire Night Terror saga at the end.
The
We'll
whole
talk about
thing?
that at the end of the entire thing, from soup to
What?
nuts.
What?
Um, that's my nightmare, soup and nuts. Um, um, but we're going to talk today. This is actually week 7 now of Night Terrors. We have just 2 weeks left. We have Night Terrors number 4 and the last 5 tie-ins next week, and then the week after that we have the one shot, the Night Terrors Night's End, and that is actually going to be the big finale for everything.
On
But
a
we have
week by
5
itself. Yeah, on a week by
exactly.
itself, thankfully.
It's August is a 5 comic week, so or 5 comic month rather. We got 5 today, and again, all of them were pretty good. But let's start with. Yeah, I mean, I
We're
still
going to
thought
have
Superman were all
differing
pretty good.
opinions this week, I think. Yeah.
Yeah,
All right. We start kicking it off with Superman.
yeah, yeah.
You want me to do the rundown on it?
Absolutely.
Again, we start with a story with Kara in a nightmare of her own, kind of doing a little backpedaling from where we last saw her at the end of issue 1 of this. But she's back on Krypton looking at some of the historical events of her life through this nightmare lens. And she quickly realizes it's a nightmare and dips out with gusto, being chased by all the different versions of herself over the years. And that kind of brings us to where we were at the end of the first one, where she busts through into Kal-El's nightmare. And that's where we catch up with Superman and Supergirl together.
Correct. Where they are being saved by all of the Aqua people.
In the real world, by the way, they are
Exactly.
unaffected.
Correct.
Atlanteans unaffected by this. So we're getting great highlight of the them saving the
Correct.
world, keeping people safe, running around, sending the whole leagues of Atlanteans all across the globe to peacekeep while all of this stuff is running amok.
Correct. And so you may be asking yourself, but how come they didn't fall asleep? And so we're told that basically because of their ear pressure, because they live so deep under the sea, the pressure of the sea, that actually helps them to be kind of immune from what is going on with insomnia.
Letting us know that his powers that put them to sleep is a noise-based effect. And this also plays into what we saw at the end of the Superman book right before Night Terror started, where Silver Banshee damaged his super hearing and he was hearing like a normal person, hence why he was affected when the Atlanteans were not. I thought that was a cool little touch. Even though the rest of the Kryptonians are affected, he's clearly the most powerful one out of all of them, and his hearing was weakened at the time of this event.
Correct. So there is a light at the end of the tunnel for everyone because Aquaman and Mera and everyone, they're able to replicate that on the people that are asleep, and so they replicate that on Superman just in time because we see one of his uh, sleepless terrors or whatever they call. I can't
Yes,
think of the name of
future
it.
self nightmare version thing.
Yeah, exactly. Starts attacking, and there's this being that's made of blood, and so Superman freezes the. Let me actually bring that over here.
Yeah, Aquaman's fighting the old blood bag,
Correct.
and
And
it's
just
when
in
he,
time,
he
Superman
tries
wakes
to
up.
drown Aquaman. It doesn't really work. Superman comes in and does
Right.
his thing.
Right. And so we see different shots throughout the book of Aquaman also saying about how basically him and his group, for the most part, have kept the world from falling down upon itself because they've been going around and making sure that the world doesn't collapse while until they're able to find something to wake everyone up, which they do. We also see that We see Lois's nightmare is a blank page, and an
Yeah,
approaching deadline. So we see some different things.
she might be a
Um,
workaholic.
yeah, you think just a little bit, but we end we end the issue with Superman going back to really where it all began. He has to go back to the Hall of Justice in order to finally end this with Insomnia, which again goes back to the first issue of Night Terror, which is where it all began.
And we get a little
Um,
teaser at the Hall of
but
Justice too. We get some monitor screens where we can't tell who it is, but it looks like an X-ray of something, and they have like the Brainiac symbol from what I recall. And it's
correct,
showing up
correct,
on the X-ray, and it says to be continued in Superman, blah blah blah. And we know from the annual we just got a huge Brainiac tease. So
correct. And if you go back and you look at the all of the ads that have run for the Dawn of DC from the very beginning, all of them have had kind of the Brainiac tentacles that have gone through them as well.
yeah,
Um,
there's 2-page splash ads. That's right.
yeah,
They sure
yep.
did.
So it seems pretty obvious I mean, to me anyway, that Brainiac is going to be pretty much Brainiac and Amanda Waller are going to be the two driving forces of the DC universe.
Next big villain stuff happening
Exactly,
for sure.
exactly. Um, Punchline,
Punchline. I got
punchline.
that B cover, used it as a giveaway on the Tuesday show.
Hmm.
So this was solid. So that first one we saw Punchline dealing with what it felt like to achieve your goal. She had beat Batgirl, killed Batgirl, and taken over the Watchtower. And we saw how she processed those emotions and dealt with it. And then it kind of cliffhung us with a Batgirl showed back up. There was like a cyborg Batgirl that the Watchtower had integrated with. In this issue, completely different. We see how she's kind of dives into the digital world. Apparently, the Punchline character is a big social media influencer, as a lot of female villains are in comics these days. I guess it's just like one of those new tropes. It's a modern trope. Female villains,
Right.
social
That was
media
that
influencers.
was the
Go
big thing
figure.
with Silver Banshee, right? Was she was
Yeah.
alive? Why was Silver Banshee? She was being canceled, right?
Yeah, and live wires, the social media
Right.
influence. It's a female villain's trope these days, but so they kind of play with a lot of cool concepts and ideas based on social medias with their comment section and your followers and the like button. And there's a lot of creative page layouts and following through with everything, which huge shout out to the artist who did this. I'd mentioned it before, but gives Bruno Redondo a run for their money with the creativity of page layouts. And it was really fun. And she pretty much just runs through this computer and addresses all these social media real world things. I mean, I'm not big enough on social media to get the full weight of it, but I can recognize the creativeness of it. And she eventually just fights her way out of her nightmare, which is the common theme of all of this stuff. Nothing major happened in this. She fought her Batgirl. She hit the red X at the top right of the screen and
Hmm.
got out of her nightmare and started ended right where we started with her and the Royal Flush Gang just all kind of waking up.
Right.
Nothing
With the
major to it.
big imposing figure of Insomnia looking over her, and
Yeah.
promise. It seems like Night's End is going to be packed. It's going to have everyone because pretty much, 90% of these stories have ended with, follow us into Night Terror, Night's End. So,
It better.
um,
Yeah, better. It's an
exactly.
event finale. Yeah.
Wonder
Yo, this
Woman.
is dope.
Hmm.
Yeah. We're underneath the Hall of Justice inside of the labyrinth and stuff. The Justice League Dark do have quarters inside the Hall of Justice underneath it, and this is where this is all taking place. The Justice League Dark are the bonus characters in this, and it's Wonder Woman facing evil reflection of herself. Like this is your true nature kind of thing. You say you want peace, but you love to be a warrior. You say you want to see this, but you kill people at whim. And she's dealing with a reflection of herself, and she comes to the realization, because that's what all of these are, these characters coming to realizations about themselves, and it's a way to spotlight the character traits of the main person of the book. It's her realizing that she's not afraid of who she is, and these things are a part of me, of course, and they're a part of many people, but being a part of me does not mean that represents who I really am. I do have those feelings. I don't act on those feelings. And she absorbs this mirror version of herself, and that was the kind of way to overcome it. Instead of trying to fight off her nature, it's just to accept her nature and be better than it, be better than the worst parts of yourself. It's a great story.
Yeah, it was, and this is the second issue where there's a clear distinction, I think, made that a lot of these things that people are going through is a choice. It was the same
Yes.
thing with Hal Jordan and everything. It was said that fear is a choice. Here again, we Wonder Diana pretty much states that that she has a choice whether or not she's going to do these things or not, and that she needs to be better and not choose to do these things. So
Yes.
really good story. The Although the first part I thought kind of played into the Justice League Dark a lot more than the second part did. The second part had the Justice League Dark at the beginning and the end, but it was mostly about Diana in the middle
Yeah,
there.
they were just background.
Yeah, exactly. So, um,
Which one is that? Boom!
Nightwing.
Nightwing. Number
Oh,
2.
Matina
So,
cover. You got the Matina
yeah.
cover.
Yeah, it's because I get the fancy covers and I use them as giveaways.
Hmm.
So Nightwing number 1, no secret to anybody that follows the show. I was not a fan of, didn't care for it. And this book, no exception at all. Thought it was absolutely boring. Now it did have a decent finale to it. It's him just working his way through Arkham Asylum. He's been put in there. He woke up there, but he's there because he killed Batman, and all of his rogues are there. And there's this goofy little play on the rogues, and they play with the concept of being stuck in Arkham and how it changes it and it accentuates who you really are. And you get this scene where they walk into the mess hall, and like Killer Croc's head is made out of a alligator skin purse, and all these different villains have features about them where their body is changed into a play on their name and stuff like that. And Harley Quinn shows up, who's running the nut house, and helps him move on in his quest to find a way out. He's dragging Professor Crane along the way, and there's a ton of dialogue that amounts to nothing to just get to a grand finale in a part of the asylum that they come to be in the circus where his true origin started, when the death of his family and everything. And he has a battle out with the ringmaster of the circus, and Jonathan Crane has his
Who
own
takes on the appearance of Tony Zuko?
Tony Zuko who cut the rope and stuff
Mhm.
and killed his parents, and it was just he wakes up. I just I don't understand. I don't understand what he discovered about himself, what he overcame about himself, what choice did he make. I don't understand what, why, or when, or where the point of this story was.
Yeah, and there's one line at the end that I thought was kind of interesting and maybe telling, and that is, it says, I'll read it so I don't mess it up, but it basically says, tonight you tasted it. It said there's a thin margin between dread and desire. Tonight you tasted it and it left you wanting more. So does that mean is that foreshadowing for what may be coming in the Nightwing book?
It definitely
Um,
could be. We know Nightwing is a huge character across the brand right now. His book is like
right.
one of the top critically craving books. You got the Titans book. You know, he's team leading in events and stuff. So we'll see. Well, I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
you'll see, and
I'm
then you'll tell me. I won't see.
exactly like I'm a huge Nightwing fan, so I enjoyed this. Even the whole thing with I thought it was kind of interesting. Not surprised that Scarecrow was involved in one of these stories because obviously he is, just like in Green Lantern, you'd have to have Sinestro for fear. Here, you would think that in one of the Bat titles you would have to have Scarecrow somewhere, and so not surprisingly that he was in this story as well. Um, but he pretty much he pretty much he's done in by a bunch of crows actually at the end of the story.
He seemed
Um,
okay with it though.
yeah, he did. Yep, exactly. And then the last one, Catwoman.
Catwoman came out.
Catwoman came out too. Yeah. This one was a whole. This one had to do with Selena and her Sister Mary, and how the difference between the two of them, and basically Selena trying to convince Sister Mary to put on her costume again and go and help fight crime, because
The
the
Joker's
two
coming for you. We're trying to
exactly
save you.
right. And there's this, very young Batman who Selena's trying to train as well. Um, and so there's a lot of imagery in here about forgiveness and do you do better as is it better to be out there actually fighting crime, actively doing that, or is it better to actually be a forgiving person? So do you fight crime, with tough love, or do you fight crime with love type of a thing? And there's that whole the whole dichotomy of those two type of things. Um,
Plot
but
wise, it doesn't lend anything to the main story, but it did. If you are a Catwoman fan, I can see where this was actually a really good addition to the character, for the character or something. But I do like the fact that their whole big thing in this is they're trying to deal with the coming of the Joker for the first time. Because for everyone in the story, it's everything's happening for the first time. For Selena, she's been here before, she's seen this before, she's done this before, so she knows of the dangers of the Joker and everything. And by the end of it, every like the house is burning down, and they don't know where the water is, and then she wakes up before they ever put it out. Like, they don't best the Joker in the book, and I thought that was a great little twist to it, that she just had to wake up from it. That was the only way to get through it.
Yeah, yeah, and again, I don't follow the Catwoman main title either, so a lot of that stuff was kind of um, the best part, which is the relationship between Sister Mary and Selena. I'm sure it means a lot more to people who read it on a monthly basis. But you kind of get the gist of it here anyway, and
Mm-hmm.
so I mean, there were certainly some titles that were better than others, but I enjoyed all 5 of them. So, um,
Yeah, I
uh,
don't regret reading any but 2 of them.
yeah. um, but like I said, we come into the last set of crossovers next week. I think we have Action Comics and Detective. I think are next week as part of the crossovers.
Yeah, it's
So
about to be a really good week next week,
yeah,
except for Angel Breaker.
right, right,
Yeah,
right.
daggum Tim Seeley.
Before I forget, don't forget, as I said, we'll have next week. We'll have our regular deep dive on Monday morning at 9 o'clock, and then September 6th, Wednesday, September 6th, 9 o'clock. We will be having our special Night Terrors recap. Where we'll be talking about the entire Night Terrors saga, and we'll also be, really concentrating also on the one-shot Night Terrors Night's End as the finale. So, and during that, we'll have 2 giveaways. We'll have one for people who have made a comment. So make sure you leave a comment. If you're watching this on the rewind, leave a comment in the comment section, because what we'll be doing is we will be going out to one of the videos, one of the Night's End videos, and we will be, sorry, Night Terrors videos, and we will be selecting a video, and then we'll be selecting a comment in that video, and that person will win the entire Night Terrors saga from beginning to end, including all the tie-ins, including all the neon covers as well. And then
That's
join
insane.
us, join us on live 9 o'clock right here on this channel, September 6th, because we will also be giving away to somebody in the live chat. We'll be giving away the Night's Terrors uh, proper series, so 1 through 4, as well as the 2 bookends and all the neon covers. And we also will be giving away a slab. It will be this slab right here. This is Justice League of America number 154. Sorry, yeah, number 154 from 1978 in an 8.5. This has an appearance of Dr. Destiny in it. So this is one of his early appearances. So you can win again the Knight's Terror proper, and you can win this slab. So make sure you join us on Wednesday, September 6th at 9 o'clock at night. But that's going to be it. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit the like button. Hit the notification bell so you're alerted whenever we upload new content. But that's going to be it for this edition of DC Comics Deep Dive. I am Paul. He is Mark.
But we are Legion.
And you are now leaving Sector 2815.